Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing my March reading wrap-up. So I read 7 books this month, and I'm going to be talking about them. I look weird today because it's a lazy day. I should put a sweatshirt on, and my hair is a mess, so I just put it in a ponytail. So the first book that I read this month was The Summer Children by Dot Hutchinson, and I'm kind of sad because I wanted to read The Vanishing Season, which is the last book in the series this month, and I never got around to it, so I'm hoping that I'm going to soon. But this is the 3rd book in the Collector series, which I started in February, I believe, January or February, and I really liked it. And this one I think is my favorite one so far. It's between this one and The Roses of May. The Collector series is like a thriller horror mystery series. There's 4 books within the series, and it's kind of like a not found family. It's a group of FBI agents, and each book is a different case. Usually each case is geared closer to a different FBI agent. So the case follows children that get dropped off at the doorstep of Mercedes Ramirez's house. It's these children whose parents have been murdered, very aggressively murdered, and they have a teddy bear with them. And so it's them solving that case. I really like this book. It definitely is a heavy read in comparison to a lot of lighthearted mystery thriller books, like YA mystery thriller. Search up content and trigger warnings for this book if you do want to read it, but I gave this book a 4 out of 5. The next book that I read after is a complete 180, and that is Twisted Love by Ana Huan. For those who did not know, this was on my spring break TBR video, and I really love this book. I read this within a day or two. I had no interest in reading the Twisted series, to be honest, until I saw people talking about the most recent one, which is Twisted Hate, and so I wanted to be like, you know what, maybe I'll read one book and see how I like it. I love this book. This was more of a dive into darker romances, I would say. I know romance enthusiasts wouldn't consider this a dark romance. I would say probably, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I know there's super dark romances, but for this was a lot more than what I usually read. If you can't tell, a lot of these are rom-coms. So a morally gray main character, a morally gray love interest per se. It is dual point of view though, which I also really liked. The story follows Alex and Ava, and Ava's brother ends up leaving for a bit and asks his best friend to move in to his place to watch over Ava. And then it's they don't like each other. It's enemies to lovers, brother's best friend, all of that. The spice was good. I definitely did like that. One critique on this book was that the pacing was a little weird to me. I felt like a lot of parts were really rushed, and I wish there was more of an arc with Alex's character. I don't know how to explain it. I still thought this book was really good. I still gave it a 4 out of 5. Also, the main character is Asian. Ava Chen, she's Asian, and I love me some Asian representation. So yes, I do plan to buy Twisted Games and Twisted Hate to finish off the series so far, and I'm just super excited to read that. I know Twisted Games is a favorite, I think, within the series. I mean, a lot of people really loved Twisted Hate, which is the reason I got into the series in the first place. Speaking of Asian representation, I read the first 2 books in Helen Huan's. Did I say Helen Huan for the other one? I might have said Helen Huan, but I'm not sure. If I did, I'm so sorry. Helen Huan wrote The Kiss Quotient and The Bride Test. I ate these up so fast. I read The Bride Test first, which is actually the 2nd book, and then I read Kiss Quotient a book after I read The Bride Test. These have become one of my all-time favorite books, I will say. I gave both 5 stars, and oh my gosh, they're just so good. The representation in these books are immaculate. It is in 3rd person, and usually I stray away from 3rd person as much because it's harder for me to read, which sounds so stupid. I can read it, but I follow easier in 1st person, but these were so easy for me to follow. I love this book so much. This one is my favorite out of the 2. It's so close though. It's so close. This has Asian representation in it. It has sex work representation, and it also has autism representation in it. The main character, Stella, she has Asperger's. I have not read a book with the main character that has autism. Both these books, the love interests have autism. Here it is the hero, here it is the heroine. So the first story follows Michael and Stella. Stella had a coworker that made a comment to her about how a man will love her and cherish her and all of that, and like just a really gross comment about how she needs to know what to do in bed. So she goes online and hires an escort to teach her everything. For those who want more spicier reads, I'd say pick this book up because it's definitely spicy, I would say. While it does not take away from the romance itself. The romance itself is beautiful and beautifully written. I love it. It was so cute. The fluff. There's scenes in here that I love so much. He was so patient with her and everything. And anyway, another reason why I loved this book was because gender norms and society's views were flopped. She was the moneymaker in a field that was more associated with masculine people and men, and he was in a career, had a passion for sewing and did stuff in more of like a feminine way, and you don't really see that in a lot of books, you know. Then we have the second book, The Bride Test, which I love so much, almost equally. I just have it's just a tiny bit lower than the Kiss Quotient. This follows Kai and Esme, and this is mail order bride. So he has autism and his mom wants him to be with someone. His mom goes over to Asia to go and get him a mail order bride, and she bumps into Esme and ends up giving her an opportunity to seduce her son and make him fall in love with her. And she is a single mother and a bunch of others. She sees an opportunity to go to America and get married to this man. She'll get a green card, she'll be able to provide for her family a lot more, and it's not for, like, she's not using him for his money or anything like that. Like, it genuinely is just to help her family. This book is just, The next book I read is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover, and this book was so good. I love this book. For those who do not know, this is Colleen Hoover's most recent release, actually, and I loved it. It's now one of my favorite. It's my second favorite Colleen Hoover book. My first favorite being Heartbones. Never gonna let go of that book. This broke me and mended me all together, all in one. It's so good. And first off, the cover is beautiful. I have quotes on my quote wall. I'm started in a quote wall. You can't really, I'll put when I do like a bookshelf tour, I will show you more about what that's all about. And I gave this 4.75. It was so close to 5 stars. It wasn't exactly there as Heartbones, but it was very close. This story follows Kenna, and she has been in jail for a tragic accident, and people in town, she finally returns. She's very poor. She returns and bumps into this guy. And I don't want to say too much about it because with Colleen Hoover books, there's a lot of plot twists, there's a lot of important things that I don't want to spoil, so I'm kind of just going to leave that off to where she meets a guy. He is a connection to her daughter, the only reason she returned to town is because she wants to have a chance to be connected to her daughter. So that's all I want to say about this. It's really good. I recommend it. If you are new to Colleen Hoover, read it. I think it's one of her best releases. The next book I read is another Colleen Hoover book, and that is Layla. This was weird. To briefly quote my Goodreads review, what did I read and why did I kind of like it? This is a paranormal romance. Never read something like that before. It's like a psychological thriller kind of book that Colleen Hoover does, and Colleen Hoover's thriller books are very weird. Like, not like weird in like a bad way. It's like so like messed up, and this threw me across the room, like tornado around my room. Like I was spinning, man, and like not in like the dizzy romantic kind of spinning. Like my brain was scattered. I was all over the place with this book. It's like so weird, but it was so good in my opinion. I gave it a 4 out of 5, and this follows Leeds, which I don't like his name. Leeds and Layla in the name fall in love very quickly, and a tragic accident that leaves her in a very bad state. When she finally is okay from what happened, he always says that she was not the same. So to rekindle the flame in their marriage, he decides to take her to the place they first met and stay there for like a week or something. Paranormal, weird things just start happening. I'm gonna read you the first few sentences in this book, and you can decide from there whether you want to read it or not. I placed 2 layers of duct tape over Layla's mouth before I came downstairs, but I can still hear her muffled screams as the detective takes a seat at the table. Anyway, you can read this if you want. I recommend it, honestly. I don't recommend it if you're wanting to read it because you like Colleen Hoover's romances. I don't recommend it then. But if you want like a book that's going to completely mess you up, not necessarily in the way Verity does, but throw you for a loop, I say give it a go, honestly. And the last book I read this month is actually a book that I got for my birthday that my best friend gave me, and that is The Shadows by Alex North. And I have been wanting to read an Alex North novel so badly. And for those who don't know, so Alex North writes like horror, thriller, mystery books, and this is the one that I read, The Shadows, and I really liked it. I give it a 4 out of 5. If you can't tell, this month was a very good month for me. I wanted to read, I think it was called The Whisper Man. I think it was his debut novel. This deals with like lucid dreaming and stuff. So this story, you're gonna follow Paul, and you're sort of following this other girl named Amanda. It's mainly a story about Paul. So Paul, when he was younger, a tragic murder happened, like very aggressive murder, and the 2 people who were convicted, one of them ends up missing, Charlie Crabtree. I know, Crabtree. So he just like disappears out of thin air, and there's a lot of people who are making theories about him being able to like go to another world and all of that, and it deals with a lot of like lucid dreaming and stuff like that, which I thought was super interesting. And the plot twist in this book made me sad. You're built up to believe something, and then you find out it wasn't what you thought, which is usually in like psychological thrillers, obviously. But it made me so sad for Paul, the main guy. I really like Criminal Minds. It felt very Criminal Minds-esque, so that's probably why I liked it. I give this a 4 out of 5. There are times when I felt like it was a bit slow. I was about to say the pickups are slow. Sorry, that's my theater brain. I thought there were some like parts that were a bit slow for me, but overall I did really enjoy this book, and I do want to pick up more Alex North novels. So those were all of the books that I read in March. Keep a lookout. I will be making an April TBR very soon. I'm probably going to film that this weekend, perhaps. But if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment some type of videos you want to see, or what you liked, or anything, other books you want to recommend me, or want my thoughts on. Like this video if you want to see more like it, and subscribe. I will see you next time. Bye!